The convoy left the De Luca estate under the storm. Rain pelted the black armored cars, bouncing off the windows like shattered glass. Inside the lead vehicle, Roman De Luca's eyes scanned the city streets, sharp and unreadable. Alina Volkov sat across from him, her fingers brushing the edge of her notebook, a small, controlled movement. But Roman noticed. The way she moved, even this small gesture, had a rhythm that mirrored his own. He had trained himself to ignore distraction, to ignore beauty, to ignore emotion, and yet he couldn't take his eyes off her. "You knew this was coming," he said quietly. Alina shook her head, gaze lowered. "No, but I suspected something like this." Roman leaned back, his expression unreadable. "You've become predictable in all the wrong ways." A small, almost imperceptible smile crossed her lips. "And yet, you've still noticed me?" His jaw tightened. That smile was dangerous. It made him forget the rules. The car swerved around an empty street. When Alina spotted 3 black vans blocking the road ahead, she grabbed Roman's arm instinctively. "They're here." Roman's calm facade didn't falter. "Of course they are." Gunfire erupted from the vans. Bullets pinged against the armored vehicle. The driver tried to push through, but another explosion rocked the convoy. Roman turned to Alina. "Stay down." "I'm not staying down," she said, reaching for the small pistol hidden beneath her coat. He studied her with a sharp, dangerous gaze. "You're lucky I like that about you." Their eyes locked. The rain streaked over the glass, and for a moment, all chaos disappeared. Roman realized something he hadn't admitted in years. He cared. She was part of his danger. She was part of his mission. And yet, she had become necessary. The armored car slammed to a stop as one of the attackers' vans rammed it. Guards leaped out, firing. Roman moved through the chaos like a ghost, silent and precise. Alina slid out beside him. Her movements were fluid, almost intimate, leaning into him for cover as he returned fire. A bullet grazed the hood of the car. She inhaled sharply. "You could have been killed," he said, voice low, close to her ear. She looked up at him, their faces inches apart, rain dripping onto her hair. And yet, here I am. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to the two of them. Roman's hand brushed against hers as they moved behind cover. He didn't pull away. She didn't retreat. And then reality snapped back, gunfire, explosions, chaos all around. They ducked behind a warehouse wall. Roman's chest heaved slightly. He never allowed himself panic. But tonight was different. Alina's hand found his arm again, steadying him as much as herself. "Why do you do this?" she asked softly. "Because," he said, his lips barely moving, "I'm not used to having someone beside me who doesn't fear me, but also doesn't need me." Her eyes softened, but there was steel in them. "You could kill me anytime. Yet, you didn't. Why?" Roman's hand brushed the side of her face, just enough to feel the warmth of her skin. "Because you saved me more than once tonight." The rain fell harder. They stood close, adrenaline coursing, and the line between danger and intimacy blurred. Suddenly, headlights cut through the storm. Another convoy, controlled, deliberate. The attackers paused. A tall man stepped out. Viktor Karev. His dark coat soaked in rain, his presence commanding even the gunmen. Roman recognized the name immediately. Alina stiffened beside him. "You know him," Roman said quietly. "Yes," she admitted. Viktor smiled. "Roman De Luca, we finally meet." Roman's hand hovered near his pistol. Alina's fingers brushed his once again. It was brief, but he felt it, the connection between them. A tether in the storm. Viktor revealed that he had manipulated both the Volkovs and Roman's empire, pushing them to the brink. Both were being used as pawns. Roman's expression hardened. "You think you can control everything?" Viktor's smirk widened. "Everything falls in the right hands." Roman glanced at Alina. She nodded ever so slightly, her presence a quiet reminder that they were not alone in this fight. The two moved as one through the chaos. Snipers emerged from rooftops. Roman dispatched them silently while Alina covered angles with precision. Every move was synchronized, a deadly dance forged in fire and rain. At one point, Alina pulled him down just as a bullet zipped past his shoulder. He caught her gaze. "You always save me," he muttered. Her lips curved into a faint, daring smile. "I always have." For a split second, the storm, the war, the betrayal, all of it, paused. The last of Victor's men fled into the night. The city streets were wet, silent, and still. Roman lowered his pistol. He looked at Alina, raindrops clinging to her hair and clothes. Soaked, but defiant. "We survived." Alina's hand brushed his. "Yes, but for how long?" Roman's thumb traced her knuckles. "As long as we are together." She swallowed, heat rising in her chest. "And if I betray you again?" He stepped closer, their foreheads almost touching. "Then I'll find a way to trust you again. Because for the first time, I can't imagine not trusting you." The storm raged around them, but inside the armored walls of their own world, they found something dangerous and intoxicating: each other. Far in the distance, the sound of engines approached. Another wave, another threat. Roman drew Alina close, whispering, "Stay behind me, or beside me. Either way, we survive this together." Alina looked up into his eyes, their faces inches apart. "I've already chosen." And as the gates of New York's underworld threatened to collapse around them, Roman and Alina stepped forward as partners, lovers, and enemies of anyone who dared cross them. After the storm passed and Victor's forces retreated into the night, Roman and Alina returned to the quiet of the city. The rain had washed the streets clean, leaving only reflections of neon and headlights in the puddles. Roman's car glided silently through Manhattan, heading toward his penthouse. Alina sat beside him, shoulders tense but eyes soft. The chaos of the night lingered, but there was a new calm, a fragile moment stolen from the war outside. When the elevator doors opened, Roman led her silently through the hall, his hand brushing hers, not demanding, just a subtle connection. Alina felt her pulse quicken. The penthouse was vast and minimalistic, but tonight it felt warm. The storm outside echoed faintly in the windows, but inside everything was private, intimate. Theirs. Roman gestured toward the city skyline. "You see this?" His voice was low, commanding yet gentle. "Everything I've built. It's meaningless without someone I can trust." Alina looked at him, words catching in her throat. "And you trust me?" He stepped closer, closing the distance between them. "I'm learning to," he said softly, "and that terrifies me." The subtle tension that had been building for weeks, the stolen glances, the hands brushing, the quiet touches in moments of danger exploded in that space. Alina reached for his hand. Roman didn't pull away. Instead, he laced their fingers together. They moved closer until the skyline behind them was a blur of rain and lights. Roman cupped her face, thumbs brushing her cheeks as he studied her eyes. "You should have left me," he murmured. "You should have never come near me." "But I didn't," Alina whispered, closing the final distance. "Because I couldn't." Their foreheads touched. Silence filled the room for a long, perfect beat. Then, slowly, Roman's hand slid from her face down her arm, fingers intertwining with hers. Alina leaned into him, resting her head against his chest as he wrapped his arms around her. For the first time in years, Roman allowed himself to feel something without calculation. No strategy, no plan. Just the warmth of the woman who had infiltrated his empire and his heart. He led her to the bedroom, the soft glow of the city reflecting off the glass walls. They didn't speak. Words would have ruined the moment. Every glance, every subtle touch, every heartbeat was enough. Rain continued to hammer the windows, distant and rhythmic, like the heartbeat of the city itself. They moved together slowly, a dance of trust and desire. Alina's hand brushed the edge of his jaw. His thumb traced her lips. Finally, they paused, sitting close on the edge of the bed. Roman rested his forehead against hers. "I don't know how to do this," he confessed. "I've never allowed myself." Alina placed a finger on his lips. "You don't have to do anything," she whispered. Just be here. For hours they sat together, speaking in soft confessions, sharing laughter that had been impossible during days of war and betrayal, letting the chaos of the underworld remain outside the walls. And in that night, amid the storm and the secrets of the city below, Roman De Luca, the ghost stone, the man who never loved, found something he had never expected: love. Alina Volkov, the woman sent to destroy him, had become the only person he could trust with his empire and with his heart. The rain slowed, the city exhaled, and for the first time in years, in the quiet of his penthouse, Roman let himself feel alive. Outside, the war still waited, but inside, the storm had passed.